Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. We are going to run our intro and we'll be right back. All right, and we are back. So, welcome again to this week's edition of Sisters of Legacy. I am Samantha Walker. To my right is Shanetta McNair. On my left, I don't know, whatever. And directly below is Katrina Taylor. We are on every Thursday at 8 p.m., where we have various talks and share the wealth of our knowledge with you guys. So, tonight, we're going to kind of do a mashup of a few things. Some things that were kind of on my mind, some things that I wanted to see um, how the ladies felt about it. And we're just going to have some good old conversation. So, ladies, anything you want to say, anything on burning in your mind or heart today before we dig into the topics?
No, it's September 22nd.
It's not your birthday.
It's still September.
Yes, it is still September. Thank you for making us aware of that fact. Um, okay, so we have like a couple of questions, a couple of topics we're going to cover all at one time. I'm going to start out with the one that was kind of the most pressing on my mind, and that was, do we struggle to trust people because we don't truly trust ourselves? So typically, I am. Good evening, ladies. I'm guessing that is you, husband. Good evening. Um, I am typically the type of person that either good or bad, randomly, I'm going to evaluate my situation or the season I'm in my life. And I always kind of think of, how did I get here? What decisions have I made? What decisions do I not should I not continue to make, those type of things. I always do that randomly for as long as I can remember. I've been that person. Not just when things are bad, when things are good too. I always think like, okay, what did I do that things turned out so right here? And I try to recreate those situations or those decisions. So the last time that I was kind of evaluating, I was thinking like, how is it, easier for me to trust people or get close to people now than it had been kind of like all my life? Like, what's different for me now as opposed to like growing up? Like, I would be around people, but I always kind of felt like, um, I don't know, like I was just in a room full of people. Like, I didn't really feel overly attached to a lot of people growing up. I mean, I knew them, I said hi, whatever, but I didn't feel like attached or connected. So in the thinking, I kind of went back to like, during that time, I didn't really, growing up, I really didn't trust anybody. And it was because, in a lot of ways, I really didn't trust myself. Like, I didn't trust some of the decisions I made that turned out bad. I always felt like, well, if you would have did something else, or if you would have made a better decision, things would have turned out differently. So because I questioned everything that I did, or I second guessed myself, or lacked a lot of confidence, even though it appeared to be otherwise, like it caused me not to trust other people. Because I'm like, if I can't trust what I'm thinking or trust what I think I see, you know how like you meet somebody, you think they're great, and then it all goes downhill. Like I'd be like, how did I not see that? Like how did I miss that? And so it caused me, like not really to trust myself a lot. And in turn, I didn't trust other people like at all. Like, to be close friends with, to be connected with, like I really didn't trust people. And so I was like, I wonder if that is something that happens to other people. Like, if that's a struggle that other people face, that, when you really think about it, it's like, oh, I second guess everything I do. Yeah, because it's kind of like you don't really trust yourself. So I wanted to see what you guys thought, or if you've ever had that experience.
I've definitely had a similar experience, actually recently, to where I had hired somebody to do something and they just really did me dirty. And I kept going back to, like, I should have seen that. I should have did my due diligence. Why did I trust this guy? Why didn't I, Google this or find this out, or
Right.
I should have did more. I should have tried to protect myself more. Why did I trust this guy? And so it really just kind of, after that, I'm like, I'm not hiring nobody. I don't want to ask
Right.
nobody for nothing. They probably all scammers. They all scammers,
Right.
you know. And so I'm just kind of at a place where I'm like, yeah, I don't even really want to. I don't know how I'm gonna get anything fixed at my house, because I just, every time I look online, I'm like, you probably, you scamming me too.
Right.
And I don't even call you up yet, but I look at your ad, you a scammer.
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of hard to trust when you've had that kind of experience, when you kind of feel like, well, I didn't do enough to protect myself. I didn't do enough to, why didn't I see that? Why didn't I? Yeah, that's right. Had I looked at that, but then thinking about it more, I'm like, well, there's no way I would have thought about that. Most people don't look for this sign or that. You know what I mean? Like, you see somebody holding themselves out to be a certain, professional, then you believe that. You're not like doing background checks on every single person. But like, in this day and age, I guess I feel like I gotta background check everybody. It's kind of crazy, So yeah, it's kind of hard to trust. I mean, it's like, how much do you do to make sure that you can trust somebody? Like, how much do you have to prepare, or how do you have to, to see if you can trust somebody?
Right.
I think, and I'm not sure where this started for me in my life or my experience, but I literally live by the I don't trust you until you give me a reason to trust you. So like, I don't naturally meet a person and just automatically feel like, oh, I can trust this person until they prove otherwise. I actually feel the opposite. When I meet a new person, I'm like, okay, I'm watching you. And it gives me time to figure out whether or not I should trust. I had an experience where I ignored red flags, and continued to issue trust, is how I'll put it, where I knew I shouldn't have. And I don't think that it caused me to distrust myself or to, I guess, second guess myself, because I saw the red flags. And when everything began to go down and happen, I was just like, well, I'm mad. I'm mad at me for, giving in so easily and trusting, or, just kind of like, ignoring what I saw. But I never second guessed myself, because it was kind of like, I knew that. So it was kind of like that. You let them get you, and now you've been got. So you just out here now, you stuck, now you got to deal with it. um but I am definitely that type of person. Like, I just naturally, like, I'm like, what's your angle? What you trying to do? What you trying to get at? Even when my kids call me with questions, like, I trust my kids because they're mine and I love them, and I kind of like them too. So, but even when they call me with like questions or requests, if they don't get straight to the point, like I'm already like, okay, what you doing? What you trying to get to? Like, what's the deal here? Like, you making me, feel like I got to keep my eyes on you. What's going on? Why are you trying to know where I'm going to be when I'm going to be there? Like, just when I get there, I get there. Why you need to know all that? But that's just naturally how I am. Like, I'm a watcher. So I naturally wait for people to give me a reason to trust them. Like, I need to see how you move with other people. And when I see how you move with other people, it might give me an indication as to how you might move with me. And I kind of know where I should give and not, and not in certain instances and situations.
Okay. Brothers of Legacy. Now that's definitely my husband. Um, do you ever feel like your lack of trust may have you miss opportunities? Um, Honestly, now when I think back to it, yeah, I've thought about that, but I just rationalize it as like, well, if it was meant to be, then it'll happen again. Then it'll happen again. Oh, realistically though, in my mind, I'm like, okay, Sam, next time, try to be a little more like, just try to slow down a little. That's what I tell myself. Like, not necessarily try to trust somebody a little more, but I kind of tell myself just slow down a little bit, like, because I have a tendency to kind of sometimes be quick to action. Like, like Shanetta said, she ignored the red flags. Yeah, I mean, when your flag turned yellow, I could be halfway down the street before it get red. Like, I'm that person. I'm gonna act too fast because it looked like it might turn red and I'm out. So, like now I try to be a little slower to pull the trigger, so to speak.
Yeah. I don't think my lack of trust has, not that I know of. If I missed the opportunity, I don't know I missed it. So I don't know that I'm supposed to be a millionaire right now and, on a beach somewhere living every day because I missed the opportunity clearly. um, but I do think that when you don't, I guess, pay attention to the signs or pay attention to what's going on around you, that's the part that can cause you to miss opportunities. And I think from what I hear, it sounds like we do pay attention, but we're paying attention kind of like with like an observant or skeptical eye, which would make us more cautious. But like Sam said, I think if it's meant to be, if it's something that's supposed to happen for me, that it's definitely going to happen no matter how, or, because if God has it planned for me, I'm not going to get in the way of that because he's going, it's his will for this to happen. So it'll go this way. It'll happen. He'll open up my eyes, or he'll give me, a sign that I need so that I can trust the person, so that I can get to point, B in the situation. Like, something would have to happen that would soften my heart and I guess my mind as well.
Okay.
I hope I'm not missing nothing. I mean, but somebody is waiting on me to trust them to release, you know, just come talk to me. Come holler.
Okay, so do do we let our emotions guide our judgments? So I don't know if is anger an emotion because if anger is classified as an emotion, then absolutely. Because again, like, you'll probably make me angry before you hurt my feelings. Like, it's really hard to hurt my feelings. Not so hard to make me to make me angry. So I think it definitely does at times lead my judgments. Like, it causes me to, like I said, kind of move, a little quick, probably quicker than I should. I will say lately, like this week, my feelings got hurt amazingly enough. Like, and I didn't even, it's like one of those situations I didn't see it coming. Like, I called a friend, and this friend, when I call, no matter when, where, they always answer. If they don't answer, I get like a text immediately, like, I'll call you back in a minute. But I called them, I didn't get no response, no answer, no text, no nothing for like 24 hours, like nothing. So then I text, like, I'm feeling some type of way because you always respond a certain way, and I didn't get that response. Nothing. Radio silent. So I was like, So then I called this person's son, because I like know their family, to call their son, like, hey, is everything okay? It's like, oh yeah, they sleep. And I was like, So when I hung up the phone, like my feelings was really hurt. Like I didn't even I didn't want anything, but I'm so used to the nature of our relationship, like that it really hurt my feelings. And it was like 2 days now. So it was like 2 days before I even heard from them. And of course, by the time I heard from them, they had a good reason for not like responding to me. But I was like, wow, that really hurt my feelings. And then even in that moment, I was thinking like, oh, I can't let anybody hurt my feelings again. Like next time I can't care that you don't answer my call. Like that was the way my mind was thinking. Like next time I should just be mad. Like, if I get mad, it's no big deal. My feelings are hurt, but yeah, that kind of hurt my feelings. And that was rare and different for me. So yeah, I think anger definitely, unfortunately, guides some. Um, oh, my bad. I'm sorry. My husband is texting me, of course, reminding me of stuff that I'm supposed to be doing that I didn't do. Um, yeah. So sometimes I do let anger um, guide my decisions or my judgments or whatever. So how about you, Trina?
Yeah, probably a lot. I would say my emotions guide, but then you try to temper that with some facts and wisdom and knowledge so that you don't go all overboard with your emotions, you know what I mean? Um it's sometimes it's a good thing to let your emotions, guide some things. It's like for example, like your compassion, because sometimes you need to feel for people to, to be able to help them or whatever. But like this day and age, sometimes you can't even just go with how you feel. Like you see somebody hurting on the road or they need something, and you gotta be like, are they scamming me? Should I give them something? I don't know. Are they gonna use it? What they trying to do? You know what I'm saying? Like you can't even like the road I live, the road that's right off the right next to me, right before you turn into my street, is a very like it's just a 2 lane highway. You can't really walk down the street because there's no sidewalks or whatever. And like I've seen an older man. He's always walking down the street, and I feel so bad because I'm like, he could get hit. It's really a dangerous road to walk down. And I figure maybe back in the day, I might have would have offered a ride or something, but like, you can't offer nobody no ride. So like, my compassion is there, but then the facts come in. Like he could be a murderer, so you can't really,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? So I think I let my emotions, drive a lot of different things. Um, and I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing, I think, to have your emotions. Well, I guess good emotions. When it comes to anger, though, I just try to because I could just be because it takes me so long to get angry. and I be way. I have to just not do anything because it's not a good thing. So I can't move in my anger. I have to just pull it all the way back and go sit somewhere, do something else because it could go wrong. So yeah, you got to definitely temper your emotions with facts and you know wisdom. Definitely.
Yes, Richard, it's a mashup show. We're talking about everything. Richard said, why would people's first thought, I guess, be that people are scamming? I don't know, scamming them or scamming?
Because people are scamming people.
All the time.
Right, like,
literally, literally today I was reading an article. A lady was in the mall minding her own business, and this lady was like, "Can you come and watch me play this card game because I'm trying to win some money playing this card game?" She sat there, watched the lady play the card game, felt like she was picking all the right cards in her mind or in her head or whatever. And the guy was like, "Well, do you want to play?" And she was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "You need $10,000 to even get in."
right,
She ran and got $10,000, and the man took her $10,000 and left. One of my sisters works in adult protective services, and literally every single day she's getting new cases about people just being scammed out of their money, like so fast, like calling you and saying, "Hey, I got one of your family members over here and they're, about to get arrested, but you can, stop them from being arrested, but don't call anybody." Like just tricking people out of, what they have. And it's just, yeah, like people are out here scamming people. That's why it's the first.
right.
Because I
Yeah,
think
but that lady in the mall, how about you want to buy a bridge you don't wear? Because that was dumb. That was dumb. I mean, like, I feel bad for her that she's out of her money, but like, I
right.
think she was out of something else before she got out of her money. Like,
Listen,
she was,
my first thought was, let me go get some of them bicycle cars and head over to the mall. It was that easy,
right. Yeah, that I did see that story today, and I was like, really? What is going on? So Richard said, how many times our perceived perception and thoughts turn out to be wrong? I think he's saying, how many times have you had one perception and it turned out to be wrong? I mean, honestly, I think that's something that happens, but that can happen with anywhere, with anything. Like, that could happen sometimes when you buy something online, you think it's gonna be so whatever, and you get it home and you wrong. Like, you're like,
yeah,
ooh, this looks so much better when I was looking at it on the screen. I think, sometimes our perception can be off. It's not necessarily a malicious thing. Sometimes we see, like Shanae was saying, sometimes we see stuff that we perceive as a red flag, and it's just like something that doesn't sit right with us.
right,
And but over time, you'll be like, oh, I don't know why I didn't like you in the beginning, because you all right now. Like,
yeah,
I mean, honestly, that's something that I would say. Like, I'm good to tell you, like, yeah, it took some while, it took a while for you to grow on me. Like, so I mean, it happens. I think that's the human side of us. Like, we're all human. He said, yes, there are scammers. I don't think it's an epidemic yet. You're scam aware. Okay, scam aware. I don't know about an epidemic, but it is definitely,
right,
it is a lot. It's a lot.
yeah,
So, Shanetta, do you make decisions based on your emotions? Oh,
absolutely.
I about to say, I know the answer to that question.
I wear my heart on my sleeve is how I would describe it a whole lot. So, not that I feel like I can get my feelings hurt super easy. Like there are moments, it just depends on who it is. There are moments where I can get my feelings hurt,
Right.
and there are other times where I'm like, I don't really care what you think, so it doesn't matter. So you don't like, it's not necessarily hurting my feelings, but absolutely, I am definitely an all about the emotions person. One of my husband's favorite lines is, "It's not about how we feel," and like that's how he reels me in a lot of times.
Right.
Like when like I am like
Poor
over
buddy.
the deep, off the top, just over the top, off the deep end, with all the feels and all the emotions. He's like, bring it on in. It's not about how you feel. It's about the facts, like Trina said. So it's like A, B, C, and D. But I am definitely, a person that like I'm very responsive to how I feel, and I've learned, and it probably gets on people's nerves that are around me too when I'm expressing my feelings. I've learned how to say how I feel. So instead of saying you're making me mad or you're
Right.
making me this way, I'm more of a, well, this is how I'm feeling right now,
Right.
and this is how I'm going to respond to how I'm feeling. But I definitely do respond based on emotion. I try to reel it in on my own sometimes, but when I can't find the space to think something through, I will respond emotionally. Um, but I need the space to think it through. And if I have the space to think through whatever is going on and sometimes even talk it out, I may not respond as emotionally. But I'm definitely a person that's in touch with my feelings. I know how I feel and I know how a situation is making me feel. And when something makes me feel uncomfortable, when something makes me feel unhappy, when something makes me feel angry or sad, I definitely am pretty much going to tell you. I have one particular thing that I haven't expressed my emotion on, and I do know that when it does happen, it might not be that great. I'm really trying to be prepared for a good response. But I have a person that works with me that does this little thing that just, and I'm trying to be prepared for the one day when it takes me off the deep end. And for me to say, hey, what you're doing is super rude and I need you to stop doing that because I'm professional. But I'm not sure that's how it's going to come out. So pray for me.
Yeah.
Mean that with all
Okay.
my heart and soul. Pray for me because it's not good. And
Listen, I thought I needed to apologize on air. I was about to say, well, I'm sorry. Whatever I did, I'm sorry already. You don't have to let it out. Let's just Richard said, as Christians, we're supposed to see the best in people and help people. Okay, so tell me where that's in the Bible that we're supposed to see the best in people. If you find me that scripture, I'll take what you said.
I
I can
absolutely
help
agree with
you.
you. Even if it's not listed as a scripture, I do believe that we should try to see the best in others. I do. Let me tell you why I believe that. Because I can agree with that. I can go with it a little bit. I'm gonna tell you why I agree with it. Because I think that when you can see the best in someone, it can help you to help them. Like when you see the best of intentions, when you see good intentions in someone, it can help you to say, you know what, I see what you were trying to do there. And since I see what you were trying to do there, let me help you get there. Let me help you out with this just a little bit. You know how I am. Like I always try
Yeah.
to,
I was just about to say, you are Miss Sprinkle Rainbows on everything. The reality is, so I'm the type of person that if I can help you, I'll help you. I don't even really have to like you. Like, I don't have to like you. I don't even have to see the best in you. If there's something I could do to help you, like, unless you're just awful, like, I can help you and then just move on from you. Like, I don't have to. But for me, trying to see the best in you when all you showing me is crap, that's going to make me, like, exit stage left. Like,
you gotta
trying to.
try to see their intentions. They might
Right.
have
But
good
what
intentions
happens what
my back.
happens when you're trying to look too hard and then you see people for who they truly are? Like I think that limits your ability to help them. I mean, I think, as a Christian, as he said, like we're supposed to you help the fellow man out, help your brother and your sister, however you want to define it. Like I'm fine with that. If I can help you, like I'll help you. I don't need you to try to make me see, you know anything. It's just a matter of, if you need help and I can help you, I'm fine with doing that. I don't know about the whole we're supposed to see the best in people, because sometimes people don't show you their best. Sometimes what people show you is not pretty. So what happens when you see what's not pretty? Do you still help? I think if the goal is just to help people, then you should just try to help them. I don't know. That's just my thing. I don't want to disillusion myself by trying to see the best or the good or whatever. I just feel like I kind of set out to, if I can help you, fine. If I feel like I'm going to hurt you more than help you, then, I'm going to step to the side. Like, if I can't be a help. So, so our last one was, okay, so this one was a little weird for me. This was a question, so I'll explain it if you guys want. It was, can can you what? Can you forgive yourself without excuse? So how it was explained to me, I think, unless I'm about to do this wrong, he was saying like, say, I don't know, Shanetta, I step on your foot or whatever. And then I'm like, well, I wouldn't have stepped on her foot all them times if she'd have moved them out the way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like you try to forgive yourself for bad decisions, but like, well, I wouldn't have stole the money if they would have just stopped leaving it out all the time. Like I think that's kind of how it is, where you can just forgive yourself, like, okay, I stole the money, I shouldn't have,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be better tomorrow and kind of move on from there. So I think I'm explaining that right. So do you forgive yourself without making an excuse? Or, do you give yourself an out? Are you always, giving yourself an out?
I never, if I'm in a situation where I am wrong and I know that I am wrong, I try not to make any excuse for it. I just try to make just the apology. If there's something that needs an explanation, um, it depends on who it like. With my husband, I'm gonna always say, but let me tell you why I made that decision. I kind of thought I was right anyway, because I really don't feel like I'm that wrong that often. Whatever, that's a whole nother topic, whole nother show. But at
Right.
any rate, um if I know, like if it's pointed out to me or I'm made aware, or I wake up and realize I have some kind of epiphany and I'm like, I was wrong in this situation, I don't want to make excuse for why I did what I did. There's no excuse for it. Wrong is just wrong. And for me, I try to just face that wrong, sit in it, deal with it, apologize for it, make things right if things need to be made right, and move forward. Because that's one of the things I don't like it. Like if someone is like, I apologize for how I treated you, but I only treated you that way because you had a bad attitude. Well, first of all, I don't accept your apology because your apology sucks right now. Like, I mean, that's kind of like what you want to say to them, because it's
Right.
like, was that even an apology? Like, how should I feel about what you're saying to me? So in turn, I try not to be that person. I try not to go to anybody with that type of like, let's not make excuses. If I was wrong, I was wrong. And I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have responded this way. I shouldn't have behaved this way. Here we are. I hope you forgive me because I'm sincere, because if I'm coming to you and saying that I was wrong, I am probably extremely sincere in that moment, because again, I don't usually think I'm wrong. So if I get to the place where I'm like, I wasn't right about this situation. So just know that if I'm admitting that I am definitely being sincere about it. So for me, yeah, no excuse. Just go with, like you were wrong and deal with it.
Trina.
I kind of thought about it like letting myself down, and forgiving myself for like letting myself down. So I've been trying to eat better. And some days, you know, it just doesn't quite work out.
Yeah.
And so I guess I'm trying to kind of struggle with like not making excuses, but at the same time, it's just like, but it's so hard, and it's so much easier just to grab whatever is. But I woke up late, so I was rushing, so I just, and I've got a whole list of excuses of why I'm not eating right, but at the same time, like I can't give up. I have to forgive myself, give myself grace, and try to start over and keep going.
Right.
Um, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard not to have this list of excuses, but I have to be hold myself accountable.
Right.
And that's really, I guess, in any of this, if in any scenario, um, to forgive yourself, to give yourself, you have to hold yourself accountable. And sometimes there's a circumstance that you might want to take note of when you hold yourself accountable. But I don't necessarily think that there's an excuse. And so, just with that example, as far as trying to eat healthier and do better, I really don't have excuses. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't say this is my excuse. I just have to do better. I just have to do better.
Listen, I am so with you. Since I started this job, so I work. I don't work in a kitchen. Like I'm not cooking or whatever, but I work in a kitchen. So like there's a and everything is like scratch made, made from scratch. So, when I go in the morning, they baking cookies. These oatmeal raisin cookies.
Father God.
Oh, right. Or they're making, I mean, like any kind of dessert you can imagine. I
Mm-mm.
go in the morning, they making fresh bread, fresh biscuits. I don't even like biscuits. But when they come out the oven and they just so pretty, like
Yeah.
you just gotta get one. So like I have been eating all kind of crazy because I go in the morning and somebody's always like, Sam, ooh, taste this, eat this. And like I had just been losing it. So like last week, I was like, okay, no more. Like I told myself, like, that's it. So when I go in, like in the morning, I'm like, nope, no biscuits. I ain't had a cookie in a week and a half. Like I've been making conscious decisions not to eat like the stuff. If I was like, oh, you want something for breakfast? I was like, I'll eat some eggs. No, keep the biscuit, like keep this like for lunch, like they feed us lunch every day. So, and it's almost anything you could think of, they cook it. So, like, I'm like, oh gosh. So, I decided I'm just for lunch, I always get a salad. And if there's chicken or whatever, like, I'll just get a piece of chicken with some salad. Like, so I'm like, okay, at least if I eat like I got some sense all day long, then I'll come home and eat a decent dinner or whatever. So I agree with you. It is like one of those things where like I consciously have to tell myself. And this morning, let me tell you something. The devil was busy. I went to work and they had fresh cookies
See?
that they was putting in the oven, and it's the oatmeal raisin ones that I
See?
like so much. And I mean, I'm like, no, no cookies. And then, of course, everything started going wrong at work. So it seemed like a perfect excuse
See?
to,
Yes.
to go ahead and get a cookie. I stayed strong, though. I didn't have no cookie today, but it was hard. So I will say, sometimes it is easy to like, make an excuse, for something instead of just sticking to your own, I don't know, sticking to what is the better option. Like, I mean, I hadn't even told my husband that I was going to eat better because I don't want to hear his mouth when I don't feel like eating better.
Right. Right.
I'm like, I'm not going to set myself up so that you trying to tell me what to eat because then it's going to
You
make me
know
mad.
he
And then that'll be,
heard you.
huh?
He just heard you.
Yeah, I know. But then that'll be my excuse, to I eat what I want, and then like I'll eat it. So I totally agree with you. And you have those moments where you like, it's just so easy, to grab. He said, "Oh, now I know. Ain't nobody thinking about you." Yeah, but it can be. I typically don't make a lot of excuses, like, and as far as forgiving myself, I am getting better with that. Like honestly, it's easier for me to forgive somebody else than it is for me to forgive myself.
Mhm.
Because again, I'm going to reflect and I'm going to think, like, how did I get here? You know what? I
Mhm.
knew better. Like, there was something I knew I shouldn't have talked to Shanetta because this was going to happen. And so then, like, I'm harder on myself. Like, I can forgive you. You did something. I'm like, okay, she did it, whatever. Let's move past it. I can forgive you and move on and not be angry and not hold a grudge. But like myself, I'm going to beat myself up. Like there's this situation, and every time that I'm in the vicinity, like I beat myself up. Like I'm not even angry with the other person. I'm not even holding a grudge. But every time I have to be in the same vicinity with them, I'm beating myself up the whole time. Like, so I don't really have a problem um making excuses because I'm just like, it's my fault. This is your fault because you did this and it led to this.
Right.
So yeah, I'm definitely hard on myself. Hi, Mother Norris. How are you? Um, so yeah, I'm definitely harder on myself. Like I'm not gonna make excuses. I'm definitely like, oh, this is your fault, Sam. This is absolutely like your fault. Like I will tell myself that out loud. Like this is your fault and don't ever do this again. Like don't ever. So I'm not the excuse maker, but I do have to get better um with giving myself grace. Not making an excuse, but just, you know, being easier on myself.
Yeah.
Like because yeah, I think I definitely put a lot more stress on myself than I need to sometimes. Like I'm over accountable for my actions. Like I take on accountability for my actions, for Shanetta actions, like even if Shanetta's wrong, I'm still gonna take accountability because somehow,
I'm
you know,
blaming myself
yeah,
for allowing you to get close enough for me to be wrong. That's
okay, with the wrong thing.
for me, like I'm literally like, yeah, I blame myself for that. Like something happens and somebody best, I'm like, yeah, that's my fault. You know why it's my fault? Because I let that happen. Because I let this person into this my inner circle, and
Right.
now look at me. I'm sitting here with her feelings. Here we go. I shouldn't have did it. Absolutely, and I would absolutely blame myself for that. That's me though.
Yeah.
So that over accountability, I
Right.
would definitely do that.
Yeah. So I do have to get better with that. Like, I say on here all the time, like how you talk to yourself matters. And it does. But then sometimes I don't always talk to myself the way I should. Inner criticism tears you down from the inside out. Absolutely. Absolutely. I totally agree with it. And I know it. And then even like when I'm saying, good job, Sam, you messed this up. Like I'm saying to myself, like, gotta stop being so hard on you. And then, but I don't follow through with that. I say it and I know it, but yeah, I'm still working on the fully putting it into practice part. Like,
Biggest
and we
thing is
all have things.
we know that we should have thought it through differently. We kind of know that there was a moment where we second guessed ourselves. We kind of know where there was a moment where we were just like, well, am I sure about this? And that's where like you kind of I think live sometimes when something doesn't go the way you intended for it to go.
All right. Um, it is I'm gonna say it's hard being a woman only because all I've ever been is a woman. So no, this is not a slight to men. This is not saying it's not hard to be a man because that's not. This is just me saying my experience. Sometimes it's not always easy being a woman, especially when the goal is to be a woman of character, and to be genuine at all times. Like, sometimes it could get hard. Sometimes it could be hard, um when you not want to be right, in the sense that I'm never wrong, but want to be right as in I did the right thing.
Mhm.
So sometimes that can be a difficult space to live in, and a difficult space to balance, trying to be right or in right standing, if that makes more sense. I find that sometimes that space is a little shaky, for me at times. So sometimes it does seem hard, and the weight does seem heavy. And I realize, because at times I'm not doing it properly. Like I said, the over accountability, like that's a factor. Sometimes not managing my emotions the way that I should, that doesn't help either. But it is something, that I realize that I need to work on. And like I said, we all have things, that we need to work on. We are a work in progress. If you wake up in the morning, that is a whole nother day for you to work on you. Never stop trying to be the best version of yourself. I feel like, I'm not in competition with anybody but me. Like, I want to be the best Samantha, um, that I could be, said a woman king. That is always my goal, to be the best version of myself. So if we can inspire you to do anything, is to be the best version of yourself. Analyze your behavior, analyze the parts that you play, because you can only ever control yourself. So keep that in mind. We are on every Thursday at 8 p.m., week after week. So thank you guys for joining us. If you're listening to this on replay, catch us next week. We will be live. So until then, stay safe and be blessed.